All right, so let's talk about the confidence interval, confidence levels, and point estimates. R&D team develops a new type of solvent that improves engine's performance called a power solvent. They have preliminary data suggest that the solvent has an additional side effect of improving speed and reducing engine's vibration as measured by engine's fuel consumption. So how can we confidently claim that power solvent affects engine's fuel consumption? We often want to answer questions about our processes, our products, to make improvements and predictions, to save money and time, and to increase customer satisfaction. So, does power solvent improve engine fuel consumption? Can we reduce power production time to get the product in stores more quickly? How does power solvent compare with products currently in the market? We can answer questions like this with inferential statistics. We use we use inferential statistics to draw conclusions about population based on a sample. Because it is often impractical or impossible to gather data on the entire population, we must estimate the population parameters using sample statistics. Statistics such as the sample mean and standard deviation are called point estimates. A point estimate is a single value that approximates the true value of a population parameter. The sample mean is a point estimate for me, the true population mean. The standard deviation is a point estimate for sigma, the true population standard deviation. It is highly unlikely that the sample mean and standard deviation we obtain are exactly the same as the true population parameters. Point estimates such as mean provide a lot of information, but they don't give us the full picture. To get better sense of the true population values, we can use confidence interval. We can use confidence intervals. A confidence interval is a range of likely values for a population parameter, such as the population mean or standard deviation. Using confidence intervals, we can say that it is likely that the population parameter is somewhere within this range. To illustrate, we'll return to the power solvent example. The R&D team wants to know the average fuel consumption for the population of cars which use their power solvent for 1 month. The sample mean is 3.128 and the confidence interval for me is 3.113 to 3.142. So the true population mean is likely to be somewhere between 3.113 and 3.142. There's always a chance that the confidence interval won't contain the true population mean. We use when we use confidence intervals, we must decide how sure we need to be that the confidence interval contains the actual population parameter value. We quantify how sure we need to be with a value called the confidence level. The most common confidence confidence level is 95%. The higher the confidence level, the wider the our confidence interval. Our common levels are 90% and 99%. Suppose we drew 100 samples from the population. If we use 95% confidence intervals, on average, 95 out of 100 of the confidence intervals will contain the population parameter. For power solvent study, suppose we calculated 20 different confidence intervals based on 20 different samples. On average, the population mean will contain within 19 out of 20 intervals. In addition to simplify finding the range of likely values for a parameter, power solvent can also use confidence intervals to estimate differences between the population mean and a target value. R&D wants to investigate if power solvent is as good as other solvent products on the market. The industry standard for fuel consumption is 3.10. So does the power solvent meet the standard? Before we answer this question, look at these two confidence intervals. If the target value is not contained in the interval, evidence suggests that our sample is from a population with a mean that is different from the target or standard value. In this case, the population mean is significantly different from the target value. If the target value is contained in the interval, evidence suggests that our sample is from a population with a mean that not different from the target or standard value. In this case, the population mean is not significantly different from the target value. Do we have evidence that the population mean for the power solvent is different from the standard industries? That is a power solvent different than other solvent on the market? So we can see here, okay, the answer is yes, because you see here uh, the 3.20 is not within the confidence interval. It is likely that our sample came from a population with a mean that is different from the standard fuel consumption. A lower fuel consumption value may indicate that the power solvent is better than the other solvent already on the market. Do we have evidence? Okay, suppose we want to compare power solvent to high-end solvent, which have a fuel consumption standard of 3.12. Do we have evidence that the population mean for the power solvent is different than uh, this fuel consumption value? Okay, so the answer is no. According to the confidence interval, we don't have enough evidence to say that our sample is from a population with a mean fuel consumption that is different from 3.12. In other words, the power solvent is not significantly better or worse than this standard. Let's review. We use confidence intervals to provide a range of likely values for a population parameter. The confidence level is how sure we are that the confidence interval contains the actual population parameter value. We can also use the confidence interval to examine the differences between our population mean and a target or standard value. Thank you for listening. In the next lesson, we'll talk about the hypothesis testing.